Hi there again, everyone. Welcome back for another week. Well, that is to say, this is going to be a different video than my usual fare, largely because I didn't get enough movies watched or enough again, big projects, they're going to take a while, so all the movies I'm watching and all the books I'm reading going to have to wait till next week. So this week is a little different. My birthday is, well, at the time of putting this video up is over, but I am growing older, as so many of us are, and that can be the occasion for reminiscing. So that, coupled with the general subject matter of my videos, a lot of them deal with movies. And here's the thing about YouTube and so much online that gets me, is the fact that you have somebody making YouTube video, and especially when they have a microphone. I call these people mic bros. Like, I have a microphone and a video camera, so I am a person in authority, and people watch the videos and feel like these people know what they're talking about just because they have a camera and a microphone. And, well, I don't actually have a microphone right now. My sound sucks. I'm sorry about that. But I do have a camera and a channel, and it's like, well, who says I know what I'm talking about? Well, I have been reading since like forever, since like age 4, so, you know, I guess I know something about reading books. Movies I have been into since at least an early teenager, and I have been to film school, so I have some bona fides there. So yes, all that is the reason why this is a little different video. If it's not your sort of thing, understood. Just wait till next week or skip it altogether, whatever you want. It's your choice. I'm not in authority, I'm not going to tell you what to do. But if you want to stick around and hear my film school story, then come here. It's story time. Come in, gather around, children. I want to take you back, way back to the old days of the late 1990s. Yes, I am old, thank you. Okay, to start, I graduated high school in 1997. I grew up in a small town. There were not any big cities anywhere near, and for a teenager who just wanted to get out and show the world what I had, it was very rough. So I decided to go to film school. And a lot of colleges had decent film programs, but I wasn't looking to get into another school for 4 more years before I could get out into the real world. So I looked for programs that were like film school specific, and there were only so many of those. There was one I found in Vancouver, and there was one I found in Florida, both of which were way far away from each other, let alone upstate New York, which is where I'm originally from. I wound up going to the school in Florida. Now that school is still here today, and it is way bigger than it was then. Oh my God, but I'll get to that in a minute. The school is in Winter Park, which is a suburb of Orlando, and many of you may have heard of it, although not so many people had heard of it in the 1990s, and I have spent years explaining to people, still have to the layperson, what this school is, what it's all about, etc. The school now is called Full Sail University, and it is well known in the industry as a good, basically a tech school, but like a really, really good tech school. And it was so in the 1990s. This place has been going since the 70s. It was originally, I guess, an audio recording studio, and they also started up a program for audio recording. Then in the 80s, I think it was, they moved to Florida and started up a school. Now when I went there in the 1990s, I had just graduated high school. Now this is a common thing. You graduate high school and then go to college. But Full Sail, then and now, is the sort of school that really attracts people who are looking for a career shift later in life, or maybe want to focus more on the specific thing, and are looking for a quick bit of schooling that can help them reach that goal. So for that reason, I was one of the only people of my age in my particular class, as far as I recall. Now at that time, they had branched beyond audio recording, and they had an audio program, a film and video program, and a digital media program. You could get associate's degrees in each one of them. In fact, when I went there, they had just started offering associates of science in each program. Nowadays, The list of offerings is so much more, and of course they have online programs too. Now the other reason I chose this program is it was short. As I touched upon, the programs are still relatively short. They offer more degrees. It's not just an associate, you can get a bachelor's or even a master's. So those programs are obviously necessarily longer, but they're still not that long. This is because Full Sail is a 24-hour school. So it's not just like your typical school where you have classes during the day and then you study at night and etc. No, you have classes around the clock. And it was that way when I was there too. Like, we would have, typically your classes are during the day, but then you have labs where you have the hands-on experience. So that's also classwork, but And we would have labs in the nighttime and in the wee hours of the morning. So you would have labs like 1 to 5 a.m. or 5 to 9 a.m. And honestly, even as a young person who can deal with this a lot better, the 1 to 5 in the morning was, that was rough. But that was how they worked, and that was how you could get a Film and Video Associate of Science in 13 months. And you still can to this day. So that was what I signed up for. So I went down there. They do not have dorms, they have apartments that you can get. Still the same type of thing. And when I went there, it was in basically an office building, like it shared space with offices, and you could not tell this was a college from the outside. There was no particular signage. You had to just have the address and know it was there. It was a cool looking place. They had, lots of 90s coloring, I guess. I don't know. I would love to share photos, but I don't have any from that era. And I had the darndest, you Google Full Sail in the 90s and you just come up with pictures from the now. The old classrooms and whatnot are still there, and I honestly don't know if they're used or not. But they're still there and you can see them. Or they were 10 years ago. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll catch up on that. The classes were very interesting. They had a good swath of them. All the classes are taught by people with industry experience and recent industry experience. So we started off with more basic classes, like business classes. We learned Microsoft Excel. That's how fancy we were in the 90s. That's right. College in the 90s was when I got my first email address. Gotcha. But we also had film production classes. We had lighting, you learn cameras. We touched on pretty much everything briefly, at least to start. So even if you're in the film and video class, you learn the basics of audio engineering. You get to plan the mixing board and digital media and etc. But what I particularly remember are the film production classes where, again, we learned lighting, how to set up a light stand and how all that, the 3-point and etc., how all that works. We had a film history class, which I aced. We had a film writing class, which I also aced in this way. Our project was to write a script. And you could either write a long form script or a short form. And then the best short form and the best long form script were picked to be our final class film projects, where we actually went and filmed our student films. And mine was picked as the short form, so we filmed that. Unfortunately, I cannot share that with you because this was the 1990s and my copy of the film, which I still have, is on video cassette. I never transferred it over. I should probably do that. We also had a special week of lectures by other industry professionals telling us a bit about how it's really like to work in the industry and their experiences and what to expect. I also met my husband at those lectures. Romance. He was in the audio program. Now it's interesting because about 10 years ago we were down in Florida on vacation and we were in the area and we thought we'd drive by the old school. And we were amazed because there's signage. It's bigger. It's taken over pretty much the entire complex as far as I could see. And so we went in just to see the inside. There's an actual foyer and all that. And they said, "Oh, we have tours. Would you like to take one?" I said, "Sure." This tour took an hour. The place is huge now. When we were there was the basic office building with a warehouse area in the back, which was the sound stage. There was no back lot or anything like that. That's what it was. That's where you did your TV and film production. And then there was another building, kind of kitty corner to that, across the street that was used for live shows and also for graduation. And it's still used for that today. However, just the place is so much bigger now. I can't even touch on everything. I do remember when we were in the soundstage, it was a bigger area. They have a green screen that is huge. It goes from floor to ceiling. I was like, this was not here. Not that green screen was really a thing in the 90s, but still, it was not there. And they have a back lot, an actual back lot. We had nothing of that kind. We had a driveway going around the back of the building. Yeah, it was amazing. This place is so big now. It's such a big deal. Now, my personal experience, and this is why I am speaking to you now on my film and books YouTube channel instead of working in film, is because love movies as much as I do, I am not a tech head. I thought I was going to film school with all the other creative types, and they were going to be totally into film, so I thought what I need to do is I need to watch movies before I go so that I'll know what everybody's talking about. But that's not what happened. The people who went there, at least at that time, were people who wanted to learn the basics of how to do this job so that they could do the job, so that they could get a job. And that's basically it. They liked movies, sure, but they weren't totally into the creative side. That's not why they went to a tech school. For example, I remember in the film history class, we watched The Third Man, and I had already seen it, so I knew the ending. But when the ending came up, people were going, "Oh my God, I cannot believe it." I'm like, you haven't seen this movie? I thought you were in film school. It reminds me of, okay, tangent, but total film geek here. I used to get Premiere Magazine. Anybody remember that? I remember an interview with an up-and-coming actress named Sandra Bullock, and they had done a spread with a bunch of photographs where they had dressed her up as classic movie stars, and she did not know who any of them were. And I was shocked by that, absolutely shocked, because it's one thing to be in a job and not really care about it. It's just a job, you know, and maybe you don't know everything about it. You're not totally all about that job. But if you're an actress, that's more a passion, right? So wouldn't you want to know about acting? Wouldn't you watch movies and go to shows and whatnot and study other actors and see what they do? Why would you not know about these classic movie stars? So it was kind of the same thing as that for me. So that was basically it. I was in a tech school, and even though I do find that stuff interesting, like how the camera works, how the lighting works, it doesn't stick in my head. Which is probably obvious, because my lighting is not great, my camera work is static at the moment. I'm the only one doing this, so my audio is not great. Part of it is I can't afford great stuff, but also part of it is I haven't gotten the hang of that yet, even to this day. It just didn't stick with me. I don't know how lighting works. I know how three-point lighting works, but if you get more technical than that, I'm completely lost. I barely know what an f-stop is. You get the idea. I am the creative type. That's why I did better at film history, because I like history. I get it. It's a story. Yeah. And I did good at the writing class. The teacher actually took me aside at one point and said that, you know, I should work at that in the movie industry, that I should go out there and be a scriptwriter. And even little me with my big dreams and ideas about the world and how I was going to dazzle it was going, I don't think I'm going to make a living as a scriptwriter. It's just, yeah, as much as I would love to, it's not realistic. Here's the other thing. The film industry is one of those industries which is really dependent upon being able to talk to people and make connections. I'm an introvert, and back then, I was even more of one. Like, I love people, I find them fascinating, even more so now than I did then, and I can talk to people now. I've gotten a lot better at it, but I'm still not a strength. And then I was incredibly shy. I barely spoke up. So you can see that this was a problem. I wasn't ready for it. Now I'm ready for it, but I'm married with 3 kids and my life has taken me in a different direction. I'm also getting older, and if I stand around too much, my back starts to hurt. I would seriously love to work in film production. I still would. It's still a dream. And wouldn't you know, like, I could in some ways because, like I said, I'm better at talking to people. I have a lot more patience, but I just don't know if it's ever going to happen. So here I am, best that I can do at this point in time. So yeah, okay, again, that's why I'm here talking to you now. And these are the things you have to consider. Now, I will say, it is a college, it is a technical school with all the latest up-to-date technology so that you can learn on what you are likely to be working on, which is a definite plus. However, that means it costs a good amount of money, even for colleges nowadays. On the bright side, you can see where your money's going. On the downside, it's a lot of money. In the 1990s, when I went for a 13-month program, it was $20,000. Now, that's not so much for a full degree nowadays, but on the other hand, it's $20,000 for 1 year, which is still a pretty good amount. Now, full disclosure, one of our kids at this time of filming is at Full Sail. They decided to go there for a gaming design or gaming development degree. I'm just a mom here. I'm not sure which one. And their total tuition is $90,000. Yeah, don't remind me. It hurts to even think about it. Yeah. Now that is for, again, the game whatever program. That lasts for 20 months. They're getting a bachelor's degree. So this will give you an idea of the pricing, but definitely I'll put the website down below. You can go there if you're interested in checking anything more out. Now what I got for my money, obviously I didn't end up making a career out of it. I did get some interesting, their placement department does work with you. They do their job and try and find you something. I got a few internships off of that. And a brief job, I got a couple job interviews. One was for a local museum of science that wanted help with filming their presentations, which was pretty cool. I did not get that job. But there was another job for a company run by a man who used to produce the Grand Ole Opry. And he still had all the tapes of it. My first job there was, they were trying to put together a retrospective. And I was supposed to call all the old acts who were still alive and see if they wanted to come in for an interview. Predictably, me, the introvert, was not very good at that, so I got reassigned. And I had to take the tapes home, review them with the time code, and write down when things happened. So I was a little better at that, and I got to know a bit about June Carter and Minnie Pearl, so hey, education. There was a brief bit just one night where we went to a local high school for one of their football games. And we were supposed to film it, and I was given the job of writing down the plays and when each one happened. I was not so good at that because I didn't know anything about football. And I told them so, and they said, oh, just write down the plays. I don't know football. So it was basically like, this team threw the ball. This other team caught the ball. Okay. Thank goodness it was just one night. My most interesting experience was an internship for 1 weekend. Went to this old hotel in like the Everglades or something. It was a swampy area and it smelled, but it was beautiful. This was for a video that was I think there's still a website. It was just something you could order online. If your kid was scared of the dark, I think it was. I'm sorry, I cannot remember what this is called. But if I do, I'll put it in the description because it's really interesting. The video comes with like this kit you can give your kid to help arm them against the monsters in the dark, I think it is. This video, it was just this cute little story. And I don't know the entire story because I was only there for 1 weekend. The filming took longer overall. This video starred Mandy Moore before she was famous, when she was just a kid and starting her career. I was not there when Mandy Moore was filming. She had already filmed her parts. And I remember on downtime, some of the crew reviewing the video with her singing, going, oh, she's really talented. And it's like, oh, okay, some kid singing. I don't know. What I did get to see, the filming when I was there took place in the basement. And there was some young guy who was supposed to be magical called Mr. Music, and don't remember what that was all about. But the video also starred Butch Patrick of the Munsters. And he was a super nice guy. I remember him coming down and being like, oh, this is just like Grandpa's basement. He was so sweet. So that was a really cool experience, even though, again, I, the introvert, didn't speak up. So I wasn't going to get a job off of that. I wound up managing the props table because they were like, well, what can you do? I don't know what I can do. Didn't want to speak up. So again, just not a good point in my life for that. And regrets, sure, I wish I had spoken up and been able to do more, but I just simply was not there yet. I wasn't ready. Oh, one more quick bit of trivial interest. The cinematographer on this shoot, speaking of classic American television, was Luke Halprin, who was the child star of the TV show Flipper. I've never seen that one, but I knew about it, and he was very cool as well. So at least I got some stories I can tell, and I met my husband there and love blossomed. We moved back to his home state and got jobs and raised our kids. One of the jobs I did have once we moved back here was Blockbuster Video. That's right. My film school degree got me work at Blockbuster Video. True story. Well, I probably would have gotten the job anyway, but that's not the point. Being in a video store was kind of a dream too. It honestly was. So $20,000 later, I did have those experiences. So was it worth it? Well, I like to think so. But maybe that depends on your point of view. I did end up getting my diploma. Fancy stuff. But Associate of Science degree. Not sure if you can see that. And I'm not sure about the glare and the lighting because I'm not good at lighting. And here's the program from my graduation, so it all proves it. I graduated. Oh, and one other thing, I almost forgot. One other thing that I did get on graduating was the official Full Sail jacket, which doesn't fit. It's too big, so I've never actually worn it. But one of my kids took it, and they love it, so I don't know if they still get those out. I wonder. Have to find out when my kid graduates, I guess. So these are the things that I would say to consider if you're thinking about film school at all generally. Are you the creative type or are you a tech head or a mixture of both, which honestly is the most preferable thing, I'd say, if you're thinking about a film or video career. And also, are you good at talking to people? Because making your connections is very important. That's honestly how a lot of business works, but yes, especially in film. Okay, so I've talked for a long time, but I hope you found it interesting if you stuck around this far. Next week, I promise I will be back with a more regular, I'm like this close to a more regular video, I promise. So as usual, I want to hear from you. What have you been reading? What have you been watching? Are you thinking about film school? Are you thinking about it more or less after what I've had to say? Like, has it swayed you at all either way? Did it make any difference at all? If it didn't, that's fine. I'm just curious. Okay, so basically, until next week, watch more movies, read more books, and remember that everyone has a story. That was my film school story. What's yours? Or what's your story? I'd love to hear anything you have to say, really. Just put it down in the comments, and I will see you next week. Bye. Hi, doggy. Oh, hi, baby. Oh, you want to help. Oh, you are so helpful. What a good dog. What a good dog that you are. Oh, look at what a good dog you are. Was I neglecting you? Oh, how dare I neglect you. All right. Go lay down. Go lay down. Lay down. Good boy.